Welcome to the show, folks. I'm your host, Joshua Christos, and my guest host, Mr. Rob House. He'll be joining us a little later. He had an event his wife was opening for somebody, some other event, which is great stuff, and he wanted to be there to support her. So he'll be jumping on just a little later. Right now, we are going to kind of start off with picking up where we left off last week. Today's topic is mindset, focus on change. And I'm using it as a kind of a play on words. So we definitely want to talk about shifting the way that we think about things, how we look at, the way that we look at money and the way that we spend money, how money works. And the second way I'm kind of playing on that word, focus on change, is we're going to talk about changes in coins, as in crypto coins, cryptocurrency. So today we're going to talk a little bit about shifting our mind state of how we see money, how we use money, how we spend money, and then later we're going to talk more about how cryptocurrency works, what it is, why you need it. And then we're actually going to take some time to walk through setting up an account. And we're going to give you a little bit of education on what those coins do and what they are. And so that you can have a renewed mindset on how you see those things and how you maybe see the value of those in your life. I encourage you to share this with somebody. If they can't watch it now, share the replay on YouTube or Facebook. I think it's on Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch. It's on a lot of different places. So share those links out with folks and let them see this. This is going to be powerful stuff, great information, great education, and it should be a game changer. It should be life changing. So if you know a lot, if you know a little, doesn't matter. Stay tuned, watch with us, and we're going to talk more about this in just a second. So share those links out, invite a friend, tell them to gather around the iPhone, the laptop, the iPad, whatever you're watching on. This is going to be a great show. It's going to be great information. It's going to change your life. So stay tuned. Let's start the show. All right, welcome back, folks. Again, I'm your host, Joshua Christos. My guest or my co-host, Mr. Rob House. He's going to join us a little later. He had a family thing to do, but we want to talk today about mindset, focus on change, how we look at money, and we also want to talk about coins, as in cryptocurrency and those things. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of do a recap from last week. Last week we talked about money being it's separating our money into four quadrants, and those four quadrants were past, present, future, and legacy. Now, if you're taking notes, this is a great thing to write down. We dissect our money into four quadrants: past, present, future, and legacy. And really quickly, I'm just going to kind of illustrate more about what that means. So, the our past obviously is our debts, right? So our past is our debts, things that we already accumulated that we owe. So this could be credit cards, this could be your electric bill, your gas bill, it could be your rent, whatever that is, things that you've used, consumed, and now you owe this, and it's past due. It's something that you've already accumulated and it's owed. Um, the next quadrant is our present, and our present is more like the things we need for today. So food, gas in your car, money for the train, you know, daily needs, diapers, milk, formula, things for your babies, things like that. That's a present need. So that's a portion of our money should go towards our present. And the next portion of our money should go towards our future. And this doesn't mean like forever future. This is kind of more like a short term with a purpose and a focus and a goal future. So that could be that you're saving up to buy a car, or saving for college, saving for a new roof, saving with a specific purpose in mind. And that's how your savings should kind of be. It should be like, I'm using this for a specific thing. Some people say they're saving for retirement. I would say, that's great, but I would hope that you would do more than just save for retirement. And that's where this next level comes in, which is legacy. Legacy is more so like you're saving to leave something for your descendants, your children, your offspring, maybe for relatives in general, or really for yourself, right? So the future self that no longer wants to work or has the ability to work, something that's just going to take care of you. It's going to be a blessing to you in your older age. And so that's kind of how you work for your retirement. Your investment strategy should do that. Your legacy preparedness, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to focus on the legacy part. Maybe in another episode, we'll talk more about the past. We definitely don't want to let our past consume our present, where we're always thinking about our debts and what we owe and those things. And we don't want our past to interfere with our future, where it's holding us back and we can't buy the house we want, we can't get the car we need, the financing we need because we owe so much in credit and debts. So we want to make sure that those things stay balanced and are rightfully handled. A lot of times we can focus too much on our present, wanting something that we think we need right now, and we end up going into debt to accumulate those things, or we don't take care of our debts. So we neglect to pay this bill or that bill because we want to buy this cool thing, we want to have fun right now. And eventually our past, our debts can just build up and build up until they, overtake us and kind of crush our present and, kind of block our future. So it's very important that we want to have all these things in right standing. But maybe in another episode, again, we'll talk more about the past and how we get our debts squared away and how we ration those resources out so that we have enough for the past and enough for today's needs, and even exceedingly abundantly above what we have now to give us a future and even greater a hope for longevity and legacy. But today I want to talk more about the legacy part of it. Now, remember last week too, we talked about how cash is kind of like a river. It's flowing, right? It should flow like a river. We talk about having streams of income. We talk about cash on hand. It's called liquid asset. So all these things kind of stay in that same format and flow. And what we want to talk more about is how we can have these multiple streams of income, and a stream becoming a river or feeding into a river or growing into a river itself. And then that supplying and funneling into a lake, so to speak. And then eventually that lake becoming an ocean. And when it's an ocean, it's abundant. It's all around you. It's wherever you look, you can see your resources are available to you. And they can take you as far as the eye can see. And that's kind of where we want to get to. I think we all have a longing and a desire and imaginings of having wealth and having freedom of that wealth brings to us. But I don't know that all of us have the information or the way that we can distribute things to get to that place where our streams become rivers, becomes lakes, becomes oceans. And so one piece of the puzzle that I think might be missing in a lot of folks is that legacy portion. I think some folks do have a savings, and their savings kind of takes and encompasses everything. So they're taking money from the present and they're paying their past and they're paying for their present needs, and then they're putting into savings and thinking that savings is going to take care of all their future plus legacy. And that's very challenging unless we have that money working for us. Now, in some cases, that money's working for us in a 401k. That's great. In another episode, we can talk more about diversifying that instead of sticking with the 401k, maybe shifting into annuities. I'm not going to get into that today. That's not really the topic of discussion today. Today is focusing on change. We want to talk about these new things that are coming up. You might have heard about it, cryptocurrencies. They're in the form of bitcoins and different names. But what are they? What do they do? Why do you need them? And how do they function? How do they work? And so that's kind of what we want to talk about in our next segment. We're going to move into that here shortly. And we're going to talk more about what they are and answer some questions. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to feed those into the comment section. I placed the link in there. So when we go through later on in the show, we're going to walk you through actually setting up your own cryptocurrency account. And we want to make sure that everybody has the ability to access that, to go in there and to buy and to sell and to make trades and start to become familiar and aware of those things. If you click that link that I've provided in the comment section, it's going to actually, when you sign up, you'll get $10 of Bitcoin. That's great. That's a great way to start your account. I also talk about how you can get another additional $37 on top of that to start your account out. And that's money that's going to be in there. If you don't have a dime to spend today, you can get your account open and start it and have money in there that's going to grow. And just to tell you how effective that is, I've helped somebody else to set up this same account setup, and they've gotten the maximum, the whole $47. And just in a couple of days, it grew 46%. Their account grew 46% in a few days. Now, I haven't looked at their account since we set it up, but I'm sure it's growing as mine is growing, and everybody I know, their account is continually growing every single day. So this is the time to get in. This is the great thing to jump on. So we're going to talk more about what cryptocurrency is, why you need it, and what it's going to do with your life, how it's going to change your life. So before we switch to that gears, I can't emphasize enough that you share this with somebody else, not for my benefit or anything, but for their benefit. What we're going to share today, it's going to change people's lives, whether they know a little or they know a lot. I think that we have a different take on what the possibilities could be for this thing. So sharing that imagination of what that could be with folks that know about cryptocurrency, I think it's going to be great. And those that don't know about currencies, well, this is going to be really great because we're going to share more insight on what that is. So I encourage you to share this with somebody, gather them around, tell them, hey, come here, check this out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go more in depth And this is really the key, the educational part. I believe there's a saying that says we fail, we fall short, we kind of die out for having a lack of knowledge. Knowledge is power. And so I'm going to give you some power today. I'm going to give you some knowledge here in just a second. And I just really want to encourage you to share this with folks so they can get in here and get this information. But even more importantly, get in here and get their account set up, take advantage of those free monies that are available to them while it's available, and get started on this thing. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go a little bit more depth of this thing. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure you feed us that in the comments below. Share this out. We'll be right back in just 2 seconds. So stay with us. Welcome back, folks. So we're talking today about cryptocurrencies. We're talking about shifting our mind state of how we look at money in general and how we look at these coins. I think a lot of folks have heard about them and they kind of look at it like it's a fad. And for me, I kind of took a while too to get a grip on it. I just thought, this is some new thing that's coming out and doing something that these other people are dealing with. But eventually I started to look at it and say, this thing kind of is like a Google thing. If you guys remember when Google started, I remember. And I remember somebody saying, hey, this Gmail thing is pretty awesome. You should get it. It's better than, at the time I had Yahoo. It's better than Yahoo. So I got Gmail. I thought, that is pretty cool. And to me, that's all it was. And they said, hey, you can search with this thing and it's pretty good. It finds the thing you're looking for. Wow, it's kind of cool and kind of neat. But I never thought it would be the thing that it is today. Google is huge. It's a massive company. They have their hands in all kinds of things, gadgets and tools and things we use in our internet services, to gaming, to movies, to AI. I mean, they're everywhere. Self-driving cars. This thing is huge, and the people who invested in it early are very wealthy now. Well, this thing is going to be way, 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 way beyond anything Google's done or Apple's done or any of those things. This is a shift in our money system, in our currency, how we buy and how we sell. This is very big. It's very huge. And if you remember, maybe in school or in some reading materials, you might have got understanding that back in the 20s, we had a depression, the 1920s. Here we are in the 2020s, and we got kind of a recession going on because of COVID and this pandemic. And what happened at that time, though, was, around that same time, we had a shift in our money system. We ended up in America getting the Federal Reserve in place. And there was a shift in money really in America, England, different places, thanks to World War One and all the stuff that was going on. And the economy was kind of fueled in the stock markets, at least, by steel and those prices going up, and we shifted into an industrial age where things really kind of taken off. We were building cars now. We were able to get through transportation that shifted. And I'm saying these things because I want you to see the similarities to what's happening right now. So our transportation is shifting again now. The electric car is kind of getting big. Everybody's jumping on board. Tesla started it, but other companies are getting on board. Our internet is booming. It's changing the whole landscape with 5G and internet being coming through, with high speeds through satellite feeds, thanks to Elon and his thing he's doing with the internet stuff. So all of these things are shifting around the world, but we also had a world affecting event like we had with World War One, which was this pandemic. So countries had suffered, people were offered their jobs, people had to get support from their governments. Their government is issuing money. Well, you just can't print money, you just can't make money because it's going to cost some sort of offset, which it might either devalue the money that you're having there if you print more, or at some point in time you're going to build a deficit, and that deficit is going to have to be paid somewhere. So you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, as they say. You're taking money from somewhere it doesn't exist to pay something else. This is bad management of your debts. So as that's happening now around the world, all these countries are bailing out their citizens. In America, we had stimulus checks go out. People were getting thousands of dollars, and a lot of people are like, yay, this is exciting. But the consequences of that are going to be, it's going to take a toll. Either there's going to be a hike in taxes, a hike in something from businesses, or they're trying to say let's tax the rich people because they have this surplus. We got to offset this. And rich folks are saying we're not doing that. We pay your salaries because we lobby. It's a whole lot of things going on. A lot of these working pieces. So it's a good chance that our money system, which is a dollar bill. I don't keep cash on me. I mean, wow, I was going to pull a dollar out to show you that, but I haven't kept cash in a while. A lot of folks don't keep cash anymore. It's already kind of digital. We use our debit cards and we swipe, and we tap our phones to pay. It's already kind of moved to a digital situation there, even though we put green money, paper folded bills inside of our bank. Remember, the bank is kind of like the river bank that keeps the river and steers the money. our banks kind of manage the cash flow and how that goes. It manages it and directs it where it needs to go. Well, that's changing as well because with cryptocurrencies, you don't need a bank. And see, that's kind of the one key pieces of cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized. And that's a word you want to kind of look up and discover what that means. But it's decentralized, meaning that it's not held by any type of a bank or any institution. It's spaced out on the network as a whole. It's in several pieces in several places at once. And so nobody has control over it. There is no need for a trustee, like a bank account that you can say, hey, make sure you have my money. There's no need for FDIC guarantees. Right now, if you put money in the bank up to 250,000, I believe it is right now currently, the FDIC will insure that money. If something happens to it, the bank gets robbed or whatever, your funds are protected. But we don't need that trustee anymore because there's no threat to it. I remember in my youth, we used to play this game, silly kid game. It was called Big Bank Take Little Bank. And maybe some of you guys played that game. And how it works is you kind of take your money, you lay out what's in your pocket. And if I have more than you, I get to take the whole pot. I take your money and mine. And it was just a game of, pride and egos to see who had the most money on them. Everybody's trying to make money and whoever had the most that day, there it is. And so cash was on hand. I grew up in an era where money was king, cash was king. It was there. It took everything. You could buy whatever you wanted to. You could do whatever you wanted to with it. And now money, cash, paper money is kind of becoming obsolete. And I can tell you, probably in the next 10, 15, I wouldn't say 20 years. That's kind of far fetched. I think it's going to be sooner than that. A lot of places won't even take money because of the hassle of taking it to a bank, putting it in there. I think it's going to continue to grow in obsolescence. But one thing about that story about the big bank to little bank is that so the money was there, it was available to you, and but now if I won that game and I had all this money, well, now everybody knew what I had in my pocket, kind of so to speak, and I had the running the risk of somebody trying to take what I had. My money was there, and I had to secure this money that I had on my person. I used to keep all my money on my person. I used to walk around with cash in my hands. I didn't really use bank accounts or debit cards. It was in a shoebox. It was at home. It was something under the mattress. I know people remember those days, throwing your money under the mattress, burying it in the backyard. But you had to protect that. Well, that's another benefit of cryptocurrency is that it's protected. That's why there's no need for a trustee. Nobody can steal your stuff. They have to have those specific hexadecimal codes to access that amount. And the money is kept in a general ledger that every single accountability of the money is kept in there. So it knows how much Elon Musk has, how much Joe Smo has, whoever has money in that ledger, it says how much is there. So it can be checked and it's stashed on several computers. So if my money becomes, if I think there's an error there, that backup file is going to be in the whole script of the hexadecimal code. So we can go to all these different computers and double check to make sure that my money is right. So the chance of your money becoming offset or somebody messing with it fraudulently, it's almost, infinitely impossible for that to happen. So security is there. The availability is there, right? Well, it's kind of growing. Availability is kind of growing. It's not there yet. And that's kind of where we have an advantage to jump in and get onto this thing. Right now, there isn't a lot of, we hear the buzzwords, but the infrastructure isn't all the way set up. And so that's kind of why I think it's important for us to get set up now and catch it while it's early, while it's in its infant stages, while it's Google when it was just Gmail, before it grows legs and starts to run and take off. Now, you might have heard a lot of folks have bought into it already. You've heard of famous billionaires and millionaires buying cryptocurrency. Last year at this time, it was trading at $3,000. Today, it's trading in the 50s of thousands of dollars. I haven't looked at it today. It may be at 55,000 per coin. It was only 3,000 a year ago. It grew quickly because people started getting into it. And so a lot of folks might look at it and say, wow, it's already jumped. It's at the $50,000 a coin mark. It's too late. It's absolutely not too late. Why do you think the millionaires are buying in still right now? See, what they did was they wanted to wait until it got legs. Wait till it gets to 50, 60,000. It's got legs now. It's not going to go anywhere. That's when they go in because they know this thing is going to go up to 100,000, 200,000. It's probably going to hit $1 million or more per coin. And see, the reason that's going to happen is this. There's a limited amount of Bitcoin that's available. Bitcoin only has so many millions of coins created. And as they're mining those coins, once they hit that and all the coins have been mined and are all in circulation, well, now we find ourselves at the law of supply and demand. Now the supply is out there. There's no more supply that can be generated. So the demand is going to continually go higher and higher and higher. Another thing about Bitcoin is it's really the only currency that's a coin. There's some other coins that are pretty famous, and they take the number two, number three, number four ranks, and so on and so forth. And those are Ethereum, Stellar. You might have heard of Cardano. These coins are not really coins in a way of them being currencies. They're more so service coins. So Ethereum is actually the network that's kind of managing how coins are moved around and traded and things. But they do have a coin, and they also have a thing that's kind of called a token. And so Ethereum has been out for a while, and it started to hear some buzzwords about that, and it's kind of growing. People started trying to mine it and things. But Ethereum, as it's created now, is kind of obsolete already, and they're releasing Ethereum 2.0. But what you can do is you can buy Ethereum right now, the Ethereum 1, let's call it that, and you can stake that coin against Ethereum 2 and earn interest on it. So when we convert over to 2, you still have that coins that you had in Ethereum 1, they'll convert over, and they've also increased value as they have gained interest on there. And that's another thing too. Right now, we're still building out that system of how do we get interest off of these coins? How do we build a system of lending and borrowing? And there's a coin called Compound that actually is kind of trying to pave that way. What Compound does is it's just that, it's compounding interest. So I buy coins of Compound, and those coins, as they sit there, they're going to be a part of the lending volume. So somebody needs to borrow coin, they'll borrow coin. It could be part of that bundle of what they borrowed. This could be my Compound coins, and I'm going to earn interest on those coins. So as I'm earning interest on those coins, my value of Compound goes up. The value of Compound as a whole goes up. So it's a self-fulfilling system that's going to keep adding to itself and growing and growing and growing. So the infrastructure will be there for lending and borrowing. And so these things are still in their infancy. Compound right now is only $300 a coin, but imagine as it goes up and the volume of it goes up and the need for it goes up, and people actually start taking that, and your house is bought with Compound. So it's not bought with Bitcoin; it's bought with Compound. Think about that, right? The whole system that we're under now, our whole financial system is going to be shifted over. Bitcoin will be moved around. I think my theory is that it's going to be used for as wealthy people use it. They're going to move big money with it, and that's all it's going to be. And then when you're doing your day-to-day trading or moving money around or buying stuff, you're going to buy with. There's a coin that's called. Let me look at my coins here. There's a coin that's trying to be the coin that's just the everyday coin. It's the coin that you use at your grocery store, your gas station, or whatever. And we're going to have a coin like that. It's called Celo. So Celo, how they're building out their platform is that they want to make it the phone, the coin that's on your phone, and you tap and you pay, and you tap and you pay. Bitcoin's not going to be that coin. It's just simply not. And the only competitor would be Stellar, and that's more so like maybe using that for money movement. If you want to move big money to buy something overseas or whatever, it's just trying to transmit it very quickly. Because like I said, the coins are held in a ledger. So every transaction is added to that ledger, added to the ledger. And every time we buy and sell, it's added to the ledger. So it can track the history from the day it started. Well, that's a lot of data points. And when you have to move that through the system, it could take minutes and some time to do so. So Bitcoin is not going to be that thing where we're going to be buying stuff and it's going to have to keep adding transactions to the ledger. That's not going to be it. It's going to be something like Celo. So we want to buy some of those because that's going to be the everyday, every man coin. When you buy shoes or house or cars or McDonald's, you're going to probably use Celo. And when you take out a loan, you're probably going to get Compound. And when you're going to move money to overseas and you're wiring money to friends and relatives in other countries, you're probably going to use Stellar. And all of those coins are built on the Ethereum network, right? So that, I know that sounds a little bit confusing. Ethereum is a coin, but it's the network that's running the engine. It is the engine, and Bitcoin might be the maybe the gas. I don't know. Let's get it started. So everybody's buzzing about Bitcoin, but again, I think that's going to be just a place to hold wealth and move big money and things like that. And so we want to talk more about these things. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to bring in my co-host Rob House. He just got wrapped up with what he was doing, and we're going to talk more about this stuff. And we want to add to your comments and questions. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure you join us. Add the comments and feedback, and share this out with folks. And even if you're catching us on the recast, you're going to want to continue to share this out with folks, because later we're going to discuss about how to set up your own account, and more so about what these coins are going to do to our lifestyle and how we even manage money in our financial just really how finances work, period, as a whole. So stay with us. We're going to be right back. And Mr. Rob House is going to join us. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. And joining me again is my co-host, Mr. Rob House. What's going on, brother?
Change mind could change the world.
Change mind can change the world. Yes, indeed. That's what we're trying to do. Change minds, change the world, and change lives today.
That's facts.
How'd it go, brother? I heard your wife was performing.
Yeah, she sung for a women's empowerment conference, virtual conference. It was real nice. I don't know if it was a conference, but they were coming together for a good purpose. And
Conference.
yeah, man. Conferencing, yeah, basically.
Before you join us, man, we were talking about shifting our mind on how we see coins and how we see our finances and how we see our current financial market. And I was just sharing a little bit about our coins and everything. And I just want to remind folks that, if you want to follow along with us, this link here that's going to show up on the screen, you want to put that in there. If you follow along with us or just click that link, even later on, if you're watching this on the recast, make sure you use this link. You're going to get $10 in Bitcoin today. And I'm also going to talk to you about getting an additional $37 of different coins to start building your account today. Even if you have no money to put into the account, you can have $47 that can grow quickly. As I shared earlier, I've helped somebody else to do that, and their account grew in a few days, 46%, I believe it was, in a few days, and it still is growing. Let me see. My account right now has grown. My account has grown, about 54% as a whole. And this is a fresh account. I just started with this one that we're going to use today. I have several different accounts, and I wanted to have this because I'm going to be using this one particular, and what we're going to be doing is Coinbase. And I'm going to use that to teach folks on because they have a lot of information built in there that they're going to teach you what the coins are themselves. And but they're one of the few traders or brokers that will actually let you get coins that give you interest. So you can put it in there and set it and forget it and get interest on that. So that's going to be really key. That's why we want to use Coinbase. Click this link and get $10 in Bitcoin today. Follow along with us here in a little bit. So I want to show folks where we at. A little bit of something here in cryptocurrencies. So I want to go through some definitions of some things. All right. So I pulled this up to share my screen to show you guys. Let me fix this. Screen share. There we go. All right. So you guys can read this if you want to, but basically cryptocurrencies is first and foremost a decentralized structure. And I want to kind of hit on that, what that means. Decentralized is saying that it doesn't exist in anybody's control. No government, no bank, nothing controls it. It's kept on your computer, my computer, everybody who buys into the cryptocurrency. Each computer has something there. Cloud servers, the people who have created the service, like Ethereum, which is the actual service. It is the infrastructure. Your log, your history, your what is that I'm looking for? The ledger is kept in the cloud. And so nobody owns that, and there's several copies all over the place. So if one gets destroyed, well, there's backed up in copies. So yeah, so it's decentralized. Not one central place has ownership of it. Now, this is based off of blockchain, and blockchain is basically like just a very in-depth algorithm that is it's just a lot of code. It's basically just a code format that's using a lot of different hex codes and secure, which is security. That's basically how like your router works. It has certain levels of keys that are hexadecimal codes to provide security. This is how the information is encoded. So it's encrypted. So even if you could get the file and look at it, you would have to also have the keys to unencrypt that, the ledger or whatever that is to decrypt the blockchain to even understand what was in there. So it's very, very, very secure. This here is off of Investopedia, so you could just kind of Google that and read more about what cryptocurrency is. But some words that you might see poke out are tokens. and decentralization and um, DeFi, right? Is which is this just the word for decentralized financing. And so tokens are basically mm, they're kind of like they're not really the coin themselves. A token is kind of just like say a bus token, like you use that to get access to something,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Ethereum can have its own token even though Ethereum has a coin. So you can buy Stellar and have Stellar coins, but you can also have a token that could be staked. And that's kind of like placing it on there and kind of holding it in reserve. Like I'm not trading this, I'm not doing anything with it. I'm kind of reinforcing this currency, saying that I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to hold it there. At least that's the kind of the way that I say it benefits you most is if you plan on having it, letting it grow, leaving it to be like what I was talking about earlier with compound, how they're going to give you interest on those dollars that you leave there, and it's kind of staked on that to be a part of the services to be available to be lent to people so they can borrow from it, and the exchanges that you're getting interest on that. Right now they're giving some coins are doing as high as 6% APY, which you're not getting that on the savings account. You're not getting that on any kind of money marketing. Not even CDs are giving you 6%. I don't believe anywhere that I know of. If you see something like that, please share it with me. But 6% is pretty good. And I get emails daily of when my money grew. So it will tell me from the coin I have, it says, hey, your money grew. And granted, daily it's like 0.0082135, as a total movement. But it's moving daily. It's showing me that daily, which will compound. If we know anything about the strongest force in the world is in the universe is compounding interest and the effects of that. What do you want to add to that, brother? I know I'm just going on. You have any comments or feedback you want to share?
Definitely the strongest force compounded because what compound does is it takes the best of what you got right now and along with the best of what you just put up before. So then you have the best of the best collaborator. And then so, yeah, anytime you can get into a situation that's beneficial and you got a compounding effect, I'd say investigate.
Investigate. There you go. That's a great word. Investigate. Get to know. Get to have awareness. So now, just really quickly, types of currencies. You heard of Bitcoin. I mentioned a couple other ones while we were having this conversation. And one thing this says here, it says that sometimes these coins can have clones or forks off, and you might see that. So Bitcoin has Bitcoin. They have Bitcoin uh, Classic, I believe. They have Bitcoin Wrapper, and it might seem confusing what those are. But what happens is, as they're mining, the computers are kind of pinging back and forth, and they're trying to mine these coins. And sometimes things can have discrepancies where that becomes a clone. So that's kind of where the mining comes into place. They're saying there's 5 coins, and as they keep going back and forth, one of these coins ends up becoming an additional coin. So now there's 6. Excuse me, but this coin is a clone, and so that system can keep going and keep going and keep going, and that's how the mining comes out. But then eventually those kind of tear off into their own subsection, and this is why when the coins are gone, they're gone. But also this is why we want to have other systems like Ethereum that kind of prevent that. The systems have subchecks and subchecks so that when you make a request for one coin, it's kind of pinging one server, and then that server is checking with these 2 servers to make sure they're good. But those 2 servers won't check with that same server. It's going to check with 2 different servers and 2 different servers over here. And so if they all have to agree, and they agree like once every 15 seconds, I think it said, they're constantly checking back and forth to make sure that the ledger information is correct. And so those things like your compound and your stellar and stuff, they won't have stellar light or classic or whatever these twists will be. But some coins are doing that. Those are usually the earlier coins. Again, Ethereum has some of these deficiencies, and that's why we're having the Ethereum 2.0 being built. And Ethereum is a very key one. Ethereum is again the infrastructure where everything's going to run. That's not going anywhere. Ethereum is not going anywhere. Neither is Bitcoin. Some of these coins have already died out. Some of them will be around for a little bit longer and die out. Some will thrive, but those two, they're not going anywhere because they are the infrastructure. Bitcoin is the actual.
Why would anyone pick the ones that are going to die out? Why wouldn't people just want to stick with the ones that are going to be around forever? What's the benefit of being of becoming a part of something that's going to go away?
Well, so we don't know which ones are going to last and which ones aren't, because really the coins, they're not really coins like we think about nickel, dime, penny. And that's a great question. I'm glad you put me on this train of thought. The coins are actually services. Every coin is a service. It's a bit of code. And so that code might say, well, what we do as a service is we make it easier for you to move your Bitcoin. So we're going to take your Bitcoin, we're going to drop those Bitcoins down into fractions of 0.00112, and then we're going to send a million of those at once. But because we're sending these smaller data points or whatever, it's easier to transmit it over wherever it's got to go, or we break it down, and then we send it somewhere else that sends it. So each piece, each thing is a service to the system as a whole. Compound is not really a code; it's a code that just makes it so that your money that you're holding, which is in the form of whatever that true currency is, it could be on Ethereum's network or it could be Bitcoin or whatever, but that coin, the code behind it, the hexadecimal script, the ledger can be communicated faster. So basically, here, let me give you an example. So let's say I have $1 million of Bitcoin, and I want to move 100,000 of that. Well, I want to move that whole ledger, so I'll convert my Bitcoin into Stellar Lumens, and Stellar Lumen's system has a way of taking and converting those coins that I converted 100,000 to sending that and transmitting it across the world in seconds. When it lands wherever it's landing, then that person will take the Stellar Lumens and reconvert them back into Bitcoin. But his money is there; it's good to go right now, and it might take the processing of that situation.
Yeah,
that's kind of go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm following.
That's one of the kind of the hardest complications right now is the transmittal of the data, because it's so much data. Every time you buy a Bitcoin, it's added to the ledger. Every time you sell it, and there's people all around the world buying, selling, converting, and so on and forth. And it's all becoming part of that ledger. So it's just going to be more and more data, more and more massive in the detail. There may be a Bitcoin 2 that they make. I doubt it though, because that's the only thing that's really a coin. That's actual money. The other ones are services, right? There are some coins that are coins. They have monetary value. But again, most of these things that you're talking about, it's calling cryptocurrencies or coins, are really services. So again, we can scroll through here and you can see some names here: Litecoin, Namecoin, Purecoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Cardano is a coin. That's an actual money coin. They had some complications when they first launched. They tried to go out and launch, and the SEC was saying like the money that they sent out, or the money they sold, there was something wrong with it, and that kind of gave them a hiccup. But actually, they were saying that those were securities, and they weren't. So they got that cleared up. They're getting ready to, I guess, kind of say relaunch, but it's already out there. You can buy Cardano right now, but you're going to want to buy that because that's going to be another coin, and it doesn't have the deficiencies that Bitcoin has, where it's not limited as far as how Bitcoin has the limitations, the way that it can be moved around and shared and things. So Cardano is one that I would say buy because it is an actual currency. But again, this is on Investopedia. You can go here and kind of read more about what these things are and what they do for you. What I want to talk about now is really how does this affect you? How does this affect our life? And then we need to go into showing you guys how to set up your cryptocurrencies and give you some suggestions on how to buy these things and what to buy. But so the reason that this is so critical right now is, again, these systems are still being built. There are a ton of cryptocurrencies, but because we don't know what we need or what's going to work, there are 10 coins that do what Stellar do, right? But only one's going to rise to the top. One's going to do it. One's going to have the service that does it well. And until those kind of catch on, I think a lot of the investors are sitting back like they did with Bitcoin. They waited until they had legs on it, till it got to 40, 50, 60,000 until they got in. And they're dumping 20 million. So it doesn't matter that it's $50,000 a coin. They know it's going to go up to 100,000, maybe even $1 million a coin. They're going to make money on it. Well, if we could have got in early, great, but it's not too late. It's far from too late. Get in with 10, 20, $100, $50. I've set myself on pace to take a portion of what I make and put it into crypto. Now I also invest in stocks. We do options. We do other things. We put in investment real estate portfolios, but I want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of, if you can't do any of those other things, you want to get into these cryptocurrencies, because again, this is changing the landscape of finance as a whole. It's just going to replace everything that we do, And so while it's still young, while it's still in its infancy, while the systems are still trying to get ironed out, these monies now, we're talking about $2,000 for a coin, $3,000 for a coin, they're going to skyrocket. We also want to get in early right now, because while they're making these ironing these things out, right now the US dollar coin just launched not too long ago. China has a coin, Russia has a coin, and we're finding that they're all converting that system over to those coins, and it hasn't happened yet. You probably didn't even know US dollar has a coin, but there's going to come a time where that's what you're trading, USDC. That's the money that you're using in America for the most part, probably.
Hmm.
But we also have a point right now where nothing has established and settled. And so a lot of these coins, because they're services, they're just scripts and codes. You and I have a say in that. We get to vote on how we see this money transforming, where it goes, how they develop the platform, where our money gets to be used. So we're not silent partners in this. We're actually being able to be here, you and I, the average Joe, to manipulate how the world changes in the future with these currencies. Whereas when the Federal Reserve was created, we didn't have a say in that. Big bankers and these guys were just doing what they wanted to do and to set it up for themselves. So one thing that's kind of cool, just kind of play along with that, is China has their currency, and right now a lot of the Chinese people, they're not using that currency. They're using a coin called Tether, which is actually based off of the U.S. dollar coin. So if they start using our coin, I mean, it's kind of crazy if you think about it, where we have a lot of debt with China, but if people in China use our coin, Tether, that's one of our coins, and that becomes popular, and they never choose to use China coin, their coin never takes off, they're going to be forced to put it in their store. Store owners are going to say, hey, nobody's using China. I can't buy it. Can't sell anything. They only use Tether. So I got to set up to take Tether, which makes our dollar stronger. The world's economies can change. Power shifts can change. Governments can become greater and smaller. The war no longer is with a machine gun or rockets and bullets. It's going to be over these financial situations. So as we establish that, right? So we can see that and say, hey, we want to back Tether. We want to back the U.S. dollar because we live in America. And if you live in Europe or wherever else, you're going to want to back your dollar so you don't get left behind or get consumed, because your value is your dollar is devalued, and you're depending on another system from another country. Now, here's another thing about that too. If the dollar says it starts to crash, well, they can create another coin and just start that off rolling. You and I can create a coin. If you build an app today, and let's say you have a gym, and you want to say, hey, if you come to my gym, you can only use let's say your gym is called Fit World. Well, you have to use the Fit World coin to buy everything in the gym. You can pay for your membership. You can buy water bottles and cups and all these things. And it can be built on the Ethereum network. It's its own coin. It has its own value. And if it gets big enough, you can actually trade it, and people around the world can buy Fit World coins if they wanted to invest in that. There has to be a reason behind that. But to give you an example of that, there's an artist, you may have heard of him. His name is Akon. He's a musician back in the 90s and 20s, I guess early 2000s, I should say. Well, he's building a city, $6 billion city in Senegal, and the coin they're going to use is called A coin after his name, and it's built on the Ethereum network. But if you go to visit that place or you decide to live there, everything you do, if you buy McDonald's, you go to the restaurant, you do laundry, you pay your electric, whatever it is, you're going to pay with A coins. That's going to be the currency there. So the possibilities are infinite. So while some things might take off, some things will probably die off, but do your research, follow along with us. I can't stress that enough, to follow us, guys, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're going to be continually giving you information on this stuff. We're going to give you everything we cover on these shows. We're going to keep giving you feeding you more and more information so you can grow and change and shift your mind focus and mindset as we go along with this over the weeks coming. But yeah, this is some powerful stuff. So it's going to change your life. It's different. Don't be afraid to change. Embrace the change. Focus on the change. Shift the mindset.
Change is always happening. Change is always happening. I mean, we got to find a way to adapt. Got to find a way to adapt.
So we have a moment in time where we can embrace it. And I think this is going to create a lot of millionaires. It's going to create a lot of billionaires. But if I could go back in time when they formed the Federal Reserve, when we were having shifts in economic structure, when the industrial age was booming and steel prices were ridiculous because the more they used the steel to build cars, the more the value of steel went up, and they just reinvested in the steel. It was crazy. Like the opportunity was there. The opportunity is here again right now. It's going on right now. And so we have to seize the moment. Don't get left behind, afraid. Again, you can set up your account right now. We're getting ready to shift into that. You can get $10 of Bitcoin today. It'll be in your account tomorrow, actually. And you can get additional $37 in coins. So it doesn't have to cost you anything out of your pocket to get started. Have some coins and watch them start to grow and gravitate. So we're going to see if there's any questions or comments. If you guys have anything you guys want to share, Mr. House, if you have any feedback or questions before we shift into showing folks how to get this thing set up.
That's good, man. Check your phone too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is good, man. This is good. People the thing to know is this: we are moving digital. Digital is going to be how everything is happening and going to be done. The future, that's what it is. 2020 has accelerated that. you know, Twitter announced about a year ago that all their employees can work from home forever. Right. They never got to come in again. And so,
Wow.
but everything's moving in that direction, convenience. And also when it comes to convenience, you know, Bitcoin is huge for that. Also in regards to control, you know, right now the US dollar is not even really the value of that is dropping like crazy. And we know why. I mean, if anyone knows anything about any of it, it's going to continue to diminish. And so this is just, we're moving into a place where, you know, we as the people are now the people in power. You know, the power is in people. We're not controlled by people in power. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
So let's take a quick break, and then I know that you know, we're getting close to our hour being up, so we're going to try to take these last 10 minutes and go ahead and get this set up real quick. So we'll take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to show you guys how to set up your own investment account, cryptocurrency trading, buying and selling through Coinbase. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
That's good.
All right, folks, welcome back, man. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys sharing this. I can't stress it enough to share this out with folks that can watch the recast. And I think it's going to bless them. It's going to at least inspire them and give them some insight on why they need to get a hold of this thing now, catch the wave while it's still young. We're going to show you guys how to get $10 in Bitcoin free just by setting up your account. And Mr. House, if you can, he's going to show us how to set up, because you don't have your account set up with Coinbase right now, right?
No. So yeah, the link. Oh no.
Let me put that in the comments again. Let me see. Actually, it's right there. If you guys want to put that into your browser, coinbase.com/join/ it's my last name, Joshua Christos, Crosto.
I can just take everything here. Bam. All right. Back off. All right. Boom. Okay. Let's see. You can see my page now. Man.
In the comments again, if you folks want to take it out of the comments.
All right. Coin tab. Point. See it?
There you go. So you guys want to just share that link, go to that link, set it up. Let me switch our identifications here, screen share. And
so now fill it out and that's it?
Yep, just fill it out. Yep. So first name, last name. And I'm going to drop that down until he's done. We'll bring it back up to kind of hide his credentials, his information. I'm going to leave that, where we at? Leave that link up on the screen. You guys can click on that link. You guys can type that link into your browser and follow along with us. So as he's setting that up, next move is verify your email. So you're going to go to that link. You're going to fill out the information and then go through and verify your email. And we'll just wait for him to go ahead and do that on another screen. And once you get all set up, guys, it's really, really kind of self-explanatory. But we will be having, if you follow us on Twitter, on Twitter at Mindset Ready Grow, just it's the same thing without the W. If you follow us on Instagram, I'm going to be making sure that we have we meet with investment teams that talk about our stocks. We talk about our coins and things, and we find winners. So when we find those winners, we're going to share those in those feeds, Twitter, Instagram. So make sure you follow along with us, like and subscribe. And throughout the week, you're going to see things when we have picks of what to buy, what to get, and maybe examples on why. We might share articles on what's changing. There are some new coins that are launching every day. New coins are launching every day. And they're again, those coins are providing a service to the infrastructure, the system as a whole. And this thing, man, I can't stress enough how infancy this is, how much in this infancy coins are. But I'm telling you, in the next 10 years, it's going to be everything you do. In the next 20 years, you know, when if you have teenagers right now, when they have children, those kids will never know what a green dollar was like. They're gonna be like, "What? That's so outdated, so ancient." So where we at? So he's putting in his phone number. Yep, he's got to add this. So it's going to ask you for some credentials and verification. It might ask you for your phone number. You're going to put that in there, and it's going to be very intensive, or let me say extensive, of what they ask for you, because you are going to be buying things that are monitored by, I guess, SEC. That's something else I want to kind of throw out there too. Right now there's not a lot of houses that can exchange this, and there are no ETFs that can do it, which are like where you kind of buy and sell stocks. I think Fidelity is submitting their application. They've submitted it a couple of times, and they've gotten denied. So if a house has tried to do that, like a Fidelity or a or some kind of brokerage that you might use, either they've gotten denied or they drew it because they knew that their stuff wasn't in alignment with what the SEC is trying to say. Here's the criteria for that. But here's what's going to change the game. We're still waiting. If they get approved to be for the ETF to take and trade these coins, well, now they got to kind of click the securities. Right now they're not securities, and so you can buy and trade, and it's kind of free for all. This is how infancy it is. You got to hear me on this. And right now, if you wanted to just kind of trade the coins and do it with the tax free, you can set up a self-directed IRA, SDIRA, and you can use that SDIRA as the way to funnel money into your crypto account, so that it's basically operating like an IRA, and you can kind of defer taxes on it. But if they get this, if the ETFs take off and they're now able to trade these things, now they got to become securities. And if they become securities, that you can manage them with a regular IRA, Roth, or just whatever. And so they really become investment vehicles.
Can you see my address?
Okay, we ready? Okay, so yeah. So
No.
after you put your telephone number in, verify your identity.
You gotta hide me again.
Okay, all right. So just want to let them see that form real quick. So all the things that you're gonna have to put in there, and from there you go in and answer all the questions. And again, like I said, it's a little bit extensive.
Yep.
But because you are going to be purchasing stuff and you're going to be trading under, if you've ever set up a stock account, it's the same process. They ask you for a lot of information, verification, who you are, why you're doing it. All right, so can we show it now?
So make sure you use the file. Make sure you legal name, PO box. Okay, maybe try Robert. Oh, wait a minute. How'd she come up there? Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, something happened wrong. That's interesting. I'm glad they called that. Auto-populated, put her name in there instead of mine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it should be good now. Yep.
Yep. So he made his account. It was that quick and easy. His account set up. And from this point, what you're going to do is just do the verification. So he's already got his verification, actually. All right. So his account set up. Next thing you're going to do is add a payment method. Let's click on that real quick. We got a couple minutes, I think, to do that. What time is it? Yeah. So what you're going to do is you can add a bank account, a debit card, wire transfer. Just leave it on that screen real quick. Let me just kind of give a little bit of information on that. Your bank account, you're going to want to only add that if you're going to take money out. If you do a debit card, it's usually going to limit you. I've seen people get limited to $60. Some folks got $300, $400 or $500. But it's going to limit you on how much you can purchase at once. But your purchases are right now, today. A bank account can take 4 to 5 days before the actual money goes through. It has to kind of like, it's kind of like an ACH, so it's taking a process. I set both of them up. And you can also set up PayPal to withdraw the money too. That will get you a withdrawal instantly. So if you wanted to do a debit card and PayPal, so debit card to buy instantly, PayPal to withdraw instantly, that's kind of how you're going to set those up. Your bank account is going to have you log into your online banking information, and it's going to ask you to go through and maybe activate a 6-digit code, and just to verify that this is your account. They don't have your bank account information. Coinbase doesn't have it. It's a third-party security system that does it. It's called Plaid. You might have heard of it. They're used across a whole lot of platforms. So Plaid is trusted.
Yep.
You can use that. So that's going to verify your bank account and connect it. Your debit card is set up right now. You put that in there. You put the debit card in there. It's gonna set you up real quick and easy. That's the easiest way to get started with this. Once you have money in your account, um, again, I would, that as soon as you set that up, if you use this link, you're gonna get $10 in Bitcoin in your account. So we're gonna hide this here. If you want to go ahead and add a debit card or something, you want to get started.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I gotta hop on a call with Australia right now.
Oh, okay, all right. So
I'm
we'll let him go.
You're my guy, dude. Real easy. Appreciate you, man.
How about appreciate you too, bro.
Okay.
So we're gonna let him jump off of here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up another Coinbase, and we're gonna show you some things. Cool. And you can catch up with us on the rebroadcast, Rob. So he's gone now. So let me pull up this Coinbase real quick. I'm gonna show you guys Coinbase. No, that's not it. What did I do? Let me see. Yep, they're real secure. So they're asking me to two-step verification. They're going to text my phone number. All right, so I just want to, here we go. So let's share the screen. There we go. All right. So once you get in, it's going to show you, this is a small account. You don't need a lot. You can track your growth over the hours, weeks, months, year. You can see your coins. You come in, say, hey, I got $20 worth of Cosmo. This is the price. Overview. Here's what Cosmo is doing. This is how much it's traded in the last 24 hours, 606 million. That's how much volume it did in the last 24 hours. The market cap is 4 billion. And so you can come in here, check your stuff. This is an hourly, right? So 9:30, 5 o'clock, weekly, monthly. This is what it's done over the month. It's went up 8%. When you're dealing with investments, you're always going to deal with percentages, because if I put $10 in there and it only goes up 50 cents, I'm like, oh, I made 50 cents. But the same person can went on that same, let's call it a coin, and they put $10 million in instead of $10 in, and it went up 50,000. And they're like, ooh, I made 50,000, but you need to look at the percentage of what you made. Was it worth whatever that investment was? If it took me a year to get 10%, was it worth a year to get 10%, even though at the end of the year I made 50,000? Like, I made 50,000 today or this year from this investment. We deal with percentages and everything that you're investing in. So we're going to look at, how much did I gain in investment wise by percent? Because this is going to continue to grow. This $20 is going to become $21, $25. And as I buy more and more, right, we want to see what did we gain overall. That's how we track things. So back to my portfolio. You can manage your portfolio. It's all right here. And some of these coins I'm just trying to play with and see what they do. Some of them I know they're going to do some things, like I talked about Stellar, Cardano. You got your Bitcoins. This one offers interest. USDC actually offers interest right now through Coinbase, so you're going to want to do that. But that's it. It's real easy. You guys sign up, click that link. You can share that same link out with other folks. They'll get $10 as well. And yeah, so that's the setup, guys. Let me get back to this. hopefully this has helped you guys, in some sort of way, at least change your opinion on how you see your money today. We've had a lot of confidence in green dollars or just in what we put in the bank. That system is changing. I would almost say it's crumbling, it's dissolving, but it's definitely changing. So we need to be prepared for that change, or we're just going to be forced to adapt to it. Somebody's going to put this on us and say, "Hey, we no longer take green dollars. You had to do this way." There was a time where credit cards, debit cards weren't a thing. I remember that, where you go into any store and buy things with cash, write a check. People don't take checks anymore. We do not accept checks, cash or a card, right? So checks have become obsolete. Cash is following behind it. It's going to be maybe a debit card, or something on your iPhone, Apple Pay, things like that, or moving these currencies around. And you have to adapt, or you're going to get left behind and left out. And I don't want to see any of you guys left out, especially when there's opportunity for you to really gain real wealth in this season, where you can get in there and move. If you guys have any questions about some of the stuff that we're using, I may go into some of the other places that we're using to buy coins at in a different episode. I don't want to tell you any names right now because I want to explain to you why. I don't want you to just go there and get caught up in that. But Coinbase right now, I want to use that, and that account I have is just to kind of show you guys how to get set up, use it for some training materials, there's other places that have other coins that Coinbase doesn't offer, that you can get into, and we'll talk about that maybe on another episode, or just maybe as you follow along with us. Subscribe, share with people, follow us on Facebook and Twitter so we can continue to give you more information and help you to navigate these things. Next week's show, we're going to be talking about some AI and automation. We want to help you change your mindset on how you see that. It's one of those buzzwords, again, that's out there, but a lot of folks don't really know what it's doing and how it works. But it's in everything you're doing today. It's already integrated in a lot of systems, from Netflix that you're watching TV on. Your TV itself has AI built into it. Your phones, traffic lights, all these things are using AI, machine learning, and they're using this infrastructure that's building up around you. And it's time for you guys to maybe take a second look at it and reshift your mindset about what it is, how it's working in your life, and how you can better take utility of it. So next week's show is going to be on that. Rob House is going to kind of lead the way on that. He's going to talk about a business that he's developed, and he's growing quickly, called RPA. And it's well, him tell more about it, but it's about robotics and AI services and how we can improve business structures and how things move from one place to the next. You're going to want to make sure you catch that. Share this video out. Let it bless somebody that you know. If you guys have any feedback, make sure that you guys subscribe to us and give us any shout outs there. The email is actually available on our Facebook page. You can email us if you have any questions. It's just mindsetreadygrow@gmail.com. I should probably have that up in a banner. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.